Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope wherever you are across the country or across the world that you are having a fantastic Wednesday afternoon and that you are looking forward to World Series Game 2 or whatever other Wednesday night activity may float your boat. I would encourage you to check out my show, Lock It In, on FS1 today. We will have a lot of fun making gambling picks, frivolity, all sorts of enjoyment coming your way at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 2:30 Mountain, 1:30 Pacific. Ratings in the month that we have been on are up 70% on the television show. Yes, I am a bit sick. I am a bit under the weather. I am losing my voice potentially, which is a disaster for what I do. But I am going to play hurt and hopefully fight my way into the weekend. Coming back from London after 8 days, my kids are sick. Everybody ended up getting a cold. That's what happens sometimes when you're on the road and you have long airplane flights. It sometimes happens. We got a lot to get to. Off the jump, I want to tell you, go to sportsbookreview.com for all your gambling and informational related needs. They will have all the best numbers when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to college football, any other sport that you're interested in betting now that the NBA is officially underway, as well as the NHL. I would encourage you to make sure that you grab that opportunity while you can and dive right in and make sure you get the best numbers. Also, my guy Ryan Kelly, now licensed nationwide. If you own a mortgage, own a home, and you have a mortgage, and your rates are decent, but you have a lot of debt. Might be debt for your student loans, might be debt for your credit cards. Why not wipe out all of that in one fell swoop, get a great new mortgage that's tax deductible, and put your financial house in order for the upcoming end of the year? Make a smart financial decision. Go to thehomeloanexpert.com, and you will be glad that you did. thehomeloanexpert.com. All right. Major story that is ricocheting around the country today. We have got bombs arriving at a variety of high-profile Democratic individuals. The Clinton home, the home, I think, of a guy at CNN. We've got bombs going everywhere, being intercepted, associated with George Soros, everything else. So, to me, this story, first of all, is an awful one. We had the bomb situation going on down in Austin and everything else associated with it. But let me say this off the top. Already, we are seeing it ascribed such that there is a desire from a Trump supporter to undertake all of this. Almost everyone on social media is already convinced and has decided that this is a Trump supporter. Could that be true? Yes. Are there crazy people of all political persuasions? Yes. But when I see this timing coming out as it is 13 days before the midterm elections, what I think is this is in some way related to trying to make Donald Trump look bad. Could I be wrong? Certainly. We don't know who is to blame. We don't know why someone chose to do this. But we have seen so many plans that have become social media sensations that have run every way you can possibly imagine. And it gets all the media attention. Oh, look at this church that was violated by racists. Oh, look at all these Jewish cemetery stones that have been torn down because of anti-Semites who were somehow emboldened by the election of Donald Trump. And time after time, what you have seen with these stories, what I have seen with these stories, is that who is to blame is oftentimes somebody trying to make somebody else look like they are to be blamed. So I would just temper all of your desire to run out and say, oh, this is the Democrats trying to make a Donald Trump supporter look bad, or this is a crazy Donald Trump supporter who has been emboldened by the media. The timing on this is so suspect, and there are so many crazy-ass people in America that I think trying to make this story already fit your prescribed media narrative is one reason we have the issues in this country that we have today, which is immediately something happens and everybody tries to decide who is to blame. Everybody immediately decides who is to blame, and they're rooting right now. There are so many people out there rooting right now for this to be a diehard Donald Trump supporter. Just like there are so many people out there rooting right now for this to be a diehard Bernie Sanders supporter or a diehard Nancy Pelosi supporter. Unfortunately, in our highly polarized environment, crazy people become even more crazy. And so as a result, I would just take a step back and say, let's wait and see who's actually responsible for all the bombs. And then, regardless of who is responsible for the bombs, good work by the Secret Service, good work by the local authorities to ensure that there was no actual damage that arose from these bombs, that no one was actually harmed. That is the positive story here, regardless of who is to be blamed. Now, figure out who is responsible and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Again, I know it's a crazy notion, but I would encourage you to wait and see who's actually responsible before you decide how that fits your prescribed narrative for what is going on. The time is certainly suspect. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me for a Donald Trump supporter to decide he wants to kill somebody who is a Democrat 13 days before the midterms. It also doesn't make sense to me for a far left-wing operative to try to blame Donald Trump supporters for this either. That's because whoever made the decision to do this is, wait for it, crazy. I used to work on Capitol Hill, and when I worked on Capitol Hill, we used to get actual mail delivered to the office. And I was always blown away by how many crazy people regularly write at the time when you could deliver letters to Capitol Hill. I had a drawer that I kept called the Crazy Train drawer. And I would pull that drawer out, and I would look at it, and I would say, my God, this is unbelievable that this could actually be happening, that there could be this many crazy people in America. And so, again, I'm going to have to block somebody here because I happen to look over. Yes, trying to make a decision that a crazy person made a decision that was not logical is insane, all right? I don't think, even if you hate Donald Trump to the utmost of your ability, even if you hate him to every fiber of your being, do you really believe that he wants anybody to be blown up by a bomb because of their political persuasions? And even if you hate Nancy Pelosi and you hate everybody on the Senate Judiciary Committee who went after Brett Kavanaugh, do you really believe that any of them want Republicans to be blown up by bombs? The answer is no. What social media has, I believe, done is it has encouraged people to believe fundamental untruths about other people who have different opinions than us. It has Disney-fied the universe so that everybody is either a hero or a villain, and there is no room for nuance. Here is the truth. Some days I do good things, other days I do bad things. That is because I am human. I got into an argument with my 10-year-old this morning because he doesn't want to participate in a math competition. By argument, I made him go. I'm not sure that I made the right decision in that decision as a parent. All day long, every day, you make decisions as a parent. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. You hope that the good is going to outweigh the bad by the time they get to be 18 to 22 years old. But you also know that what works for one kid is not going to work for another kid. So if my behavior as a parent is not sending the same message to all three of my sons because they are all different and unique individuals, how can you blame a politician for the different ways that people respond to his or her comments when everybody is intensely different? And again, when crazy people behave in a crazy manner. One of the problems with America today, I think, is that we try and explain away crazy. Crazy is by its very nature not logical. Crazy people make crazy decisions. I used to say on the radio all the time, you can't stop crazy. There are just as many, I believe, crazy liberals as there are crazy conservatives. And there are just as many crazy moderates. I don't think crazy has a political party. Maybe that's a radical belief to have, but I don't know. I haven't even been that active on social media today. I've been dialing back all my social media activity in general because I'm so busy with television and the radio and the book and writing on the site and everything else that I can't even keep up with all the insanity of social media. Social media isn't real. And so I feel like if everybody didn't have social media, if Twitter ceased to exist, and this is tough to say as a stockholder, I think America would be a better place if Twitter ceased to exist. I can't believe that I've reached this decision, but I think that America would be a better place if Twitter and Facebook and Instagram didn't exist. I think they have, it's maybe my next book. I think that they have convinced everybody that it's normal to be on social media all day, that taking selfies is normal all day, that it's absolutely, completely normal to spend all day sitting around reading the opinions of people that you don't know. And I think when we go back in time and you think about the way that this era is going to be written about in 50 years, I think they're going to point to social media and say that it was an overall net negative for our country. Now, here is the truth. I realize the extreme irony in the fact that the reason you all are able to reach me and hear my opinions about social media is because of social media. Social media has certainly been very beneficial to me. It has made me an infinitely more substantial figure than I would have been if I were still just writing articles on the internet and didn't have any way to distribute them. But I don't think social media has fundamentally changed me. And my opinions that I have today are not very much different than they would have been in 2001 or 2004 or 2008. My concern is not for people like me. It's for all this younger generation that is only going to know the social media universe. I think we're only just now understanding the impact. My theory is it's not a coincidence that the Democrats and the Republicans, both in 2016, in the height of social media, managed to nominate the two most hated people to ever run for president. The Democrats nominated their most hated person, and the Republicans nominated their most hated person. One of the things that I fundamentally believe, is that this is true. We have moved from a society where if you were a Republican, you tried to pick somebody that you hoped independents and Democrats might like. And if you were a Democrat, you tried to pick somebody that you hoped Republicans and independents might like in order to become the president, to an era now where we pick our president was simply the one who angers the other side the most. And that's why I think the 2020 election is going to ultimately be an incredibly destructive and awful situation where you end up with two different opinions going head to head, all identity politics laden. Instead of picking somebody who's going to appeal to moderates, Democrats are going to pick somebody who appeals to their base, and the two people who are running against each other are going to hate each other and drive even more division in this country. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, my hope was, and this happened last week, my hope was that the Elizabeth Warren claiming that she was like 1/1000th of 24th percent a Native American was going to break the fever of identity politics. That her decision to put that out and claim, hey, this proves that I'm a Native American, was going to prove how absurd it was in general for there to be identity politics. That somehow Elizabeth Warren was a different person because generations and generations ago, she might have had somebody in her family who was Native American. Personally, I think identity politics is a cancer that has to be destroyed in this country, and I hope we're moving in that direction. I think it's the biggest threat to democracy, and I think social media makes it worse because it magnifies tribes it magnifies division, and it magnifies identity politics to the point where it's a cancer. By the way, I'm getting 23andMe done. I can't wait to get my official DNA profile done with all the updated DNA, because I'm going to come on and I am going to make sure that I appropriate every culture that I have a scintilla of blood from in my life. Fingers crossed what this could mean for my Halloween costume. Fingers crossed for what this could mean for my show, for me to be able to come on and say, as a black, Hispanic, Jewish, Native American, white guy, I have this belief every single time. I might be the real Kablan Asian. We don't know. We don't know till my DNA comes back. It's possible that I'm part of everybody. It's possible that I represent the walking fruition of the global landscape. Fingers crossed. I don't know how it's going to exactly work, but fingers crossed that we're going to be able to find something. Uh-oh. I looked over and a guy saying, fade me, just wiped out that person, because we're on a roll with the college football gambling picks. All right, a couple of other different things that I want to dive into. Off the top here, I got college football gambling picks. Let me give you those right now. That's right. I'm also like a transgender person, which is really heroic. There's nothing more heroic I could do than cut my penis off, according to far left wingers. Not willing to make that sacrifice, but that would basically be the modern day equivalent of storming the beaches of Normandy, according to far left wingers. If I just cut my penis off, they'd be like, that's the bravest thing anybody's ever done in the history of mankind. Used to be the bravest thing anybody's ever done in the history of mankind was stand up to the Nazis. Now the bravest thing you could ever do is cut your penis off. And I'm not willing to make that sacrifice, but it is the most brave thing that any human being could do in the 21st century. That's what the internet has taught me. That's what social media has taught me. Nothing braver than deciding that I would be a woman and cut my penis off. All right, here comes all of the gambling picks. All right, here come all of the gambling picks. Get rich kids. Georgia. By the way, hold on a sec. Before I go further in the identity politics thing, I want you to follow me on this logic. With the Elizabeth Warren thing, which I was in London for, so I didn't comment on it very much. With the Elizabeth Warren story, I want you to follow the logic of far left wingers who are taken seriously in this country. They believe that gender is a social construct. You should be able to pick whatever gender you want to be. All right? You should just be able to say, like, I'm a guy, I'm a girl. And you might even be able to change your gender every day, depending on how you feel when you wake up. But if you decide to be a different ethnicity, that's incredibly racist and it's not allowed. I want you to think about this. What if Elizabeth Warren had claimed to be black, and then when she got her DNA test, if she had been 1/1000th of 24th black, would that in some way have made her claim to be black permissible? How is it that picking your gender, which is biologically certain at birth, you hold a baby up, you look at their genitals, and you say, that's a boy baby, that's a girl baby, something that everybody can see, is possible to choose, but your race, which is, as Elizabeth Warren is showing us, almost impossible to tell, that is somehow choosable or not choosable. I don't know. Either you should be able to pick your gender, and it has to be respected by everyone, as well as being able to pick your race, and it has to be accepted by everyone, or you shouldn't be able to do either. That's my logic. My logic is, look, if we're going to say, hey, it's unacceptable to question somebody's gender, they get to pick whatever they want. How is it not also the same logic applying when it comes to race? I don't understand it. Why couldn't I decide to be Hispanic one day, Asian the next day, black the day after that, if we are allowing people to pick their gender because it makes them happier? What if I am an Asian man inside the body of a white man? Why should I be deprived from deciding to become Asian? Why would you take that opportunity away from me? The logic is the exact same. And if you hit somebody who's a far left winger with it, identity politics collapses. My argument is, judge people based on their opinions, judge people based on what they do on a day-to-day basis. Don't judge them by what they look like. the gambling picks. Going 10-0. They're up on Outkick. Georgia, going to beat the Gators. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think Georgia's going to win by double digits. I also love the under. A&M and the under against Mississippi State. I think the Aggies are going to win outright. I think the wrong team is favored right now in Starkville. Stark Vegas, wrong team is favored. The Aggies are going to go there and win outright. I also love the under here. I think the under is a fantastic play. Here is what Mississippi State has scored against FBS competitions, total points in their games. 41, 35, 19, 32, and 22. You can't tell me that that is not a phenomenal sign that this game's also going to go under 45.5. Purdue at Michigan State, wrong team's favored. Purdue's going to win outright. Clemson at Florida State, line's too high. Never in the history of the Clemson-Florida State rivalry has Clemson beat Florida State by 17 or more in Doak Campbell. In fact, only once has Clemson ever beaten Florida State by more than 7 points in this entire rivalry. So I'm telling you right here, 17 is too many for Florida State hosting Clemson. Vandy at Arkansas, the over is going to hit. The over is going to hit in Vandy and Arkansas. Kentucky at Mizzou, here's the blood bank guarantee. Here is the blood bank guarantee, all right? Mizzou is going to blow out Kentucky this weekend in Columbia. I'm telling you right now, tap it, tap it, tap it. Blood bank guarantee, Kentucky is getting blown out. Do you know how many yards Kentucky threw for against Vanderbilt on Saturday in the entire game? 18. Kentucky cannot throw the football. They are not going to be able to run the ball against a team that can score a lot of points. Mizzou is going to blow them out. It's not going to be close. I think Mizzou is going to win by 20 or more. The line is 6.5. I'm telling you right now, Mizzou is going to blow out Kentucky, and I also love the over. Double blood bank, Mizzou and the over. It's going to be a blowout. I'm telling you right here, Mizzou is going to get it done. Finally, Tennessee is going to cover against South Carolina. Good stat for you right here. The last 6 games in the Tennessee-South Carolina series have been decided by 6 points or less. This line got all the way up to 8.5 when I gave it out to the Outkick VIPs. Double blood bank guarantee, yes, is on Mizzou and the over. Each of those is a blood bank guarantee. Those are my 10 picks for the week. All right? Get rich, kids, with those. Ohio State odds. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I saw it and I was blown away. These odds just came out from Bet Online. Who will coach Ohio State in 2019? Okay? Bet Online just put out these odds. I told you yesterday, and I reiterated it today, that I think Urban Meyer is on his way out. I don't think Urban Meyer is going to be back at Ohio State next year. I think a lot of you saw that, and there's been a lot of discussion about it. I think the play here, beyond a shadow of doubt, I'm telling you right now, I don't think Urban Meyer will be back. Okay? I think he's going to be gone. Who is going to replace Urban Meyer? Well, Bet Online has a list here of who will be the Ohio State coach at the start of 2019 spring practice. Who will be the Ohio State coach at the start of 2019 spring practice? Urban Meyer is plus 125. That ain't that great odds. Urban Meyer, the current coach right now, is plus 125. Matt Campbell is plus 150. This is mind-blowing to me. Iowa State's head coach right now is plus 150 to be the next head coach of Ohio State at the start of spring practice. That would suggest somebody knows something. That's almost even money. Iowa State's coach, I'm reading this right now from Bet Online. Ohio State's coach at the start of the 2019 spring practice, Urban Meyer plus 125. Matt Campbell, the head coach of Ohio State, plus 150. That blows my mind. Something's up, I think, with that storyline being out there. Ryan Day is 10-1. That's who I would have taken as the most likely to be the next head coach of Ohio State. Ryan Day, 10-1. Bob Stoops, 10-1. Jeff Brom, Purdue's coach, 10-1. Pat Fitzgerald, 12-1. Mike Gundy, 16-1. Brian Kelly, 16-1. Lane Kiffin, 18-1. Dino Babers, 18-1. Tom Herman, 20-1. Mike Vrabel, Titans head coach, 20-1. Jim Harbaugh, 40-1. Bill Belichick, 50-1. Again, this is Bet Online setting up the odds. And a lot of those at the end are obviously for fun. But somebody knows something if Matt Campbell is that much of a prohibitive favorite. Maybe they've had some discussions. Maybe they've had a talk about it in the past. I am intrigued beyond a shadow of a doubt by this. Again, this is from Bet Online. Odds to be the head coach at Ohio State at spring practice in 2019. Urban Meyer plus 125. Matt Campbell, the head coach right now of Iowa State, plus 150. No, Greg Schiano is not on that list. So that is pretty wild. That's pretty unbelievable. I want to make sure, I'm going to scroll through and make sure that hasn't changed. But this is the full odds. I'm pulling it up live on my screen to see if it's changed at all. This is Bet Online, the offshore account. Still has Urban Meyer plus 125, Matt Campbell now plus 175, Mike Gundy, Jeff Brom, Lane Kiffin, and Ryan Day is at 10-1. So that is the latest. Greg Schiano I thought was highly coveted. Yeah, somebody's asking. I think he might get fired. That's a wild storyline there. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to dial out right now. You can obviously hear I'm fighting against things with my voice. I appreciate all of you. Stay strong. I'll be good tomorrow. Hopefully the voice is going to get a little bit better and I don't end up losing it. This has been Outkick the Show. My name is Clay Travis. Thanks for hanging with me. Talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll be live on Lock It In about an hour. Love you. See you. This has been Outkick the Show.